digital soldiers. So I always thought that I was just a mom and a nurse, but today it turns out that I get to become a digital soldier. So here we are. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. Where we go one, we go all. Take the oath. Pass it on.
I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. Where we go one, we go all.
We have an army of digital soldiers. What we are now, what we call, I call them, because this was an insurgency, folks. This was run like an insurgency. This was irregular warfare at its finest in politics. And that story will continue to be told here, but we have what we call citizen journalists. Okay? Because the journalists that we have in our media did a disservice to themselves, actually more than they did to this country. They did a disservice to themselves because they displayed an arrogance that is unprecedented. And so the American people decided to take over the idea of information. They took over the idea of information, and they did it through social media.
Hello, this is Dave from Net4Truth USA, Inglorious Patriots. It is the 25th of June, 2020. The time now is 20:37 hours Eastern Standard Time in Northeast West Bumblefuck. General Flynn, sir, you are absolutely 100% correct. We citizen journalists have all but decimated the mainstream media. They are done. Operation Mockingbird has now moved into big tech because the Hildebeest, the Ovenmit Fashionista, or who I call the Kevlar Kunt, was not supposed to lose. Why wasn't she supposed to lose? Because she had all these debts and favors that she had to pay for money given to her from foreign countries, namely China, namely Russia, namely Ukraine, anybody who would throw some money into the Clinton Foundation, the Saudis, all of them. She owes them favors and she can't pay them back. And I don't know how she lived this long, because the money that she got paid for the favors that were supposed to be returned to all the people that she got the money from, she can't pay them. She won't be able to pay them because Donald Trump is going to win the 2020 election in a landslide. That's if I have anything to do with it. And just my little voice, one butterfly farting in Kenya can start a tornado in Kansas. Excuse me, these freaking planes are driving me nuts. She wasn't supposed to lose because they had the elections rigged, they had dead people voting, they had Mexicans voting. It was a free-for-all. And Donald Trump still won. Jesus, every freaking crop duster in God's creation has this freaking place as their glide path. As I was saying, she had the election rigged, or she thought she did. And if she would have won, you could kiss America goodbye. And she's running again, because Creepy Joe ain't gonna last till the election. In fact, they got indictments on him over in Ukraine. Do we have extradition treaty with Ukraine? I believe we do. Put that sucker on a plane and send him over there. In fact, put Hillary on a Cessna and let her off on a tarmac in Port-au-Prince. That'll take care of the demon rat party. And take that testicle face son of a bitch and put him on a plane, rendition him to Hungary, because they got a death warrant out for him, or send him to Putin, and Putin will put him out in Siberia somewhere, making little icicles out of big ones. Anyway, they are trying to start a civil war in this country. A civil war is when you and I fight each other. They put the blacks against the whites against the Asians against the Mexicans against the Puerto Ricans, and they divide everybody. Everybody's fighting each other. Meanwhile, they move in. And who wins in the end? They do. But if you and I, if you're a black person, if you're an Asian person, if you're chartreuse Indian Pocahontas type, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. All I care about is that you're an American, you love this country, and you want to stand up for the Constitution. Take the oath. I took my oath in 1969, and nobody has ever relieved me of that oath, and nobody can ever relieve me of my oath except God himself when he calls me to my eternal reward. That's the only thing that will rescind that oath. These people are bullies. And let me tell you something, what I learned in high school. I was a small kid in high school, and I used to get picked on. So what I did was, in my second year of high school, since I was down on Canal Street anyway, because I've had a ham radio hobby for a long, long time, I joined the Goju Ryukai Karate Gym on Canal Street. And over the course of four and a half years, I became black belt first degree in Shotokan. And the first thing they taught us is walk away from a fight if you can. And if they keep pestering you, they put their hands on you, then all bets are off. And this happened to me in high school, in my second year of high school. This guy just wouldn't leave me the fuck alone. He put his hand on my shoulder and tried to spin me around, and when he did, I took this fist and I put it right in his nose, as hard as I could, with my body behind it. And that son of a bitch bled all over the place. His nose looked like a fucking orangutan. All he needed to do was pull down his underwear and rub some pink paint on his ass. He'd look just like a monkey. And that son of a bitch never talked to me, never bothered me, never fucked with me the whole other time that I was there. What we have today in this country is an army of useful idiots, namely Antifa and Black Lives Matter. And they are being used by the demon rats who organized the KKK and who were for slavery during the Civil War to tear down the statues and the monuments and delete the history that if they studied that history, they would find out who their real enemy is. But they don't care. All they care about is the money. All they care about is an excuse to go and loot and rob stores. So you know how you fix that? You fix that just like you fix a bully. When they come to loot your store, put one in them. Put one in them. That's all you got to do. If I was the president, I'd sign an executive order to rescind all the gun laws in the country, because the supremacy clause of the Constitution says that no state can make a law that goes against the Constitution. And the Second Amendment says, shall not be infringed. Pure and simple. It doesn't say, but if. It doesn't say, but if. It doesn't give any conditions. It says, shall not be infringed. And it says, shall not be infringed for a reason. Because the Second Amendment wasn't put there so you and I could go duck hunting. Or maybe lame duck hunting. It was put there so we could defend ourselves against our own government when it got out of hand. And I submit to you that it has gotten out of hand a long, long, long time ago. Probably before anyone watching this video was even born. And now that citizen journalists have taken up the torch, we've uncovered some things that the mainstream media never taught us about. We've uncovered things that were never taught in school. I bet you never heard of General Smedley Butler, the half of you. When they had tried to take over, when corporate America tried to take over the United States government in a Nazi-style coup d'etat that was blown out of the water and put the kibosh on by General Smedley Butler, who, if it wasn't for him, would be singing Edelweiss and doing the Hitler salute right now. Nobody knows that. I didn't know that until 10 years ago, when my good friend Arthur Bernclough bought a book on eBay that was one of the first editions of a book called The Plot to Seize the White House by Jules Archer. And it came in a plastic thing, all sealed up, like a comic book, like one of those rare comic books that you're not supposed to read. Wasn't supposed to read this book, just trade it because it was rare. The knowledge in it was 10 times, 100 times, 1,000,000 times worth what was paid for it. Because I never heard of General Smedley Butler. And the coup that he put the kibosh on in 1933 succeeded 30 years later when they assassinated John Fitzgerald Kennedy, a duly elected president that wasn't going along with their bullshit. And the reason he got whacked was partly because of his own ignorance of who and what he was dealing with. I think President Trump knows. I definitely know. At least I have an idea. When you have a bully, there is no negotiating with bullies, because they come from a place of insecurity themselves. They want to puff themselves up with their fucking adrenaline, and they want to see how many people capitulate to their threats, how many people they can beat up. You know how you beat a bully? When a guy who weighs 110 pounds soaking wet holding a brick takes down a 185-pound dude, lays him flat, and makes him look like a fucking zucchini. That's how you handle them. You want to handle riots? You want to handle people who burn down buildings and pull down statues? Beat them over the head with a freaking baseball bat. Crack their skulls. And make it a certainty that any kind of shit like that happens will be met with the certainty of it's not gonna go well for you. That's how you deal with it. Because the police ain't gonna do what normal citizens do. And if you all get together and say, I didn't see nothing. I didn't see a fucking thing. You got a drug dealer on the corner? 4, 5, 10 of you guys go down and raid his house 4 o'clock in the morning. Take all his money. Beat the living piss out of him. Throw his shit out the window or down the toilet. And what you gonna do? Call the police? The police has been defunded. We the police now. You like it better that way? If we become the police, then I tell you what. If I was the President of the United States, I would sign an executive order to ban all gun laws in every state. And every governor that didn't go along with it would be arrested and put in federal prison for violating the Constitution. Under Title 18, USC, Title 18, U.S. Code 241 and 242. Put you there for 10 years. And let you sit and think about it for a minute. Anybody who defaces public property should be made to pay 3 times what that property costs. And that testicle-faced son of a bitch who's behind, or whose money is behind all this shit, and it's not only him, it's his son too. Because you see, they passed this shit down. They're evil people. You understand? It's a cult. It's a devil-worshipping cult. Been doing this shit for 3,000 years. They pass it down from generation to generation to generation. And the membership of this cult, some of it anyway, the membership dues for this cult is sacrificing your firstborn. You look that up. I'm not the only one saying it. I'm not the only one saying it. And when this shit comes out, people are not going to believe it. Let me tell you something, folks. I know for a fact. Hostel 1, the movie, and Hostel 2, the movie, was not a movie. Were not movies. Those were documentaries. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Just the tip of the iceberg. You and I are cattle to them. No more than chickens. Or roosters or fucking pigs in a pen somewhere. It's going to come out. It's going to come out. And the civil war that they're trying to start, I think, I hope, and I pray that it backfires on them. Because I can't help my skin color, and neither can you. But what I can help is what I believe in. What I can help is what I stand for. You're not telling me to put a mask on my face, and you're not touching me with your fucking needles. Because I guarantee you it will not go well for you. You put your hands on me, I don't believe in sent a mass hold. You read between the lines. If you want freedom in this country, if you're a young person, or if you want your kids to grow up free, if you don't do it for you, do it for those who come after you. Do it for the next generation, because they don't know any better. And you can't miss something you never had. The goal of these people is to make sure that the generation that comes after us never has what we thought we had. Never even have the illusion of it. And therefore won't be able to miss it. And will think that this is just the way it is. This is the way the world is. I can't do anything about it. We can do something about it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be 70 years old in November. I was ready to die for my country when I was 19, 50 years ago. I helped people as much as I could. I gathered as much evidence as I could, and I've made a lot more friends than I've made enemies, but I've made some pretty powerful enemies. All you gotta do is put your fucking hands on me. And that's gonna be the second shot heard around the world. You can bet that. The revolution is going to start. It's inevitable. It's either a revolution or a civil war. If it's a civil war, after it's over, we're not going to have any hope of ever recovering this country to any form of freedom, any form of decency at all. It's just going to be one big fucking free-for-all. But if it's a revolution, it's us against the powers that be. It's us against the deep state. It's us against the liars, the scumbags, and the demons, the literal demons that are infecting this planet. Then we have a chance. But if they are able to do this techno-Nazi dictatorship that they're planning to do, humanity might as well just put a gun to their heads and commit suicide, because life on this planet will not be worth living. It's getting dark. Thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe to our backup channels on YouTube: Inglorious Patriots, Net4Truth2 Patriot channel, and Ethernet Warriors. You can also catch us on BitChute.com/Net4Truth USA, remonetized.org/user/Inglorious-Patriots9, and drop.space/@Net4Truth USA. All the links are in the description. We fly so close to the target, we are on our 5th fighter jet. We will be relentless and persistent until the enemies of freedom are defeated. You can support this channel by using the links in the description, but for a $100 donation, I will personally send you a autographed hardcover special edition copy of Land of Childhood's Fears. Also, visit my bookstore at lulu.com/Net4Truth USA. If you are viewing this video on BitChute, you can use the links in the description to support us, or simply click the green $ dot on our video to support this channel. Thank you. Links are in the description section.